So I had stopped making videos for a while because the manager at my mall Dairy Queen, most of y'all know I own a couple Dairy Queens. At my mall store, she had to quit. Her father passed away, so she kind of wanted to cut back her hours for a while. So I was working a lot, and that's what I want to talk about today, is the my mall Dairy Queen. But first, we're going to just talk about a little bit about the market. The market came back yesterday, and the banks were ended up after several banks put money in the First Republic. But today they're right back falling again. All the banks across the board, they're getting down pretty significantly, and they're really starting to get interesting. But as I told y'all yesterday, I was going to wait until Monday to see, hoping something happened this weekend. Even though the Federal Reserve and the banks have already done so much to shore up the banking industry. I know one of the problems today is the Swiss bank. Some banks have stopped doing business with them, so their situation is getting worse. So I'm hoping everybody come together this weekend and come together and do something. More than likely, that probably would have happened because they have to save the banking system. We can't let the banking system crash. Also today, I know I talk about Warner Brothers a lot, Warner Brothers Discovery a lot. They had 2 upgrades. I kind of don't like that because I haven't really completed my position. The more shares I get, the happier I can be. So I actually wish that Warner Brothers would go down some. I believe it's a company with a really bright future. So that's enough about what I think is going on in the stock market. Well, let's talk about my mall Dairy Queen. So I opened up my mall Dairy Queen about 9 years ago, a little over 9 years, 9 years, 2 months. My lease is up in December, and I have to make the decision to keep it open or close it. When I first opened it, 9 years ago, it was doing really, really well. I mean, the mall was jumping. It was a very successful store. But the reason I had to open it, I was in the Army for 20 years, and I didn't have no food experience. And I wanted to open up a grill and chill first. And Dairy Queen told me, because I didn't have no food experience, I had to open up a mall store. And it was the right decision too. Y'all probably noticed I got on my Dairy Queen uniform. I worked a little bit today. I try to go in the mornings and open it up, make sure everything is going good before I have somebody come in. But as I was saying, because I didn't have no food experience, I had to open up a mall store, and it was the right move. I managed it for about a year myself. I learned a whole lot about the restaurant industry, how to manage food, how to manage labor, food costs. I learned how to do schedules. I learned all that stuff, and so as I said, it was really the right move. But now 9.5 years later, so I want to say my last good year that I really had was 2017 was my last really good year. And of course, 2020 was a disaster because of COVID. 2021 was also bad. But for some reason this year, sales are up. I'm having my best years since 2018. I'm having my best sales years. So I had to meet with the mall today. And the reason why I'm talking about this, because I like to use this channel mainly for economic conversation. And so I was having to have an economic conversation about keeping my mall open or closed. So I'm talking with the management. I think, and I'm telling them that, no matter what, it's almost impossible for me to keep it open. I don't even think it does enough sales, even just to pay, with a mall store, you have CAM, which is common area maintenance, that you have to pay to the mall. You have insurance, you have taxes. And so you have all these other bills to include the rent. And I'm telling them, even if y'all took rent to zero and asked me to keep it open, and I just had to pay those bills, it'll make money, but it won't make enough money, for me worthwhile. So I have 2 other grill and chills, and I actually have to spend more time with this mall store than I have to do with my 2 grill and chills, which has probably, they have like 10 times the sales that a mall store does at a grill and chill, because a grill and chill sells burgers and fries and all that, and my mall store is a DQ OJ where we sell Orange Julius and Dairy Queen. So we had to talk about the numbers. They had what the sales were. And I told them, and there's this thing right now that is doing all right now. It's not losing money because they have this thing called an abatement. And so once you're, that's really just a reduction in rent. And so they reduced my rent, year by year, to make sure that one, I just don't walk away from the store. So the store does do all right, but it doesn't make enough money for if I work there, 40, 50 hours a week, it'll probably do a lot better. But I think my time is a little bit more valuable than to work in a store. And then plus, as I get older, I want to do more things like make these videos. I really want to try to turn this into something, not just for money or anything like that, but to get the message out, about economics, and everything really comes down to economics. So that's what my mall store is like. And I will say that it's gotten so bad, sales are probably from the peak in 2014, the sales are down by like half. Sales are down by over half actually. And so it's just not worthwhile keeping open. I'm probably going to talk more about franchising, how I got into franchising, what made me get into franchising instead of just opening up an ice cream shop on my own. I'll talk about that in later videos. But I just wanted, because I had that meeting today, and there isn't really much going on in the stock market besides that the banks are just crashing, and it has me, really, really worried about what's going on in the stock market, how they're going to solve it. But one thing you can believe in America, they're going to figure out a way to stop the bleeding. And is the Federal Reserve going to cut next week? I'm really hoping that they don't. But that's just wanted to talk to you today about my mall store and why I might have to close it. Thank you.